Hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you very much for participating. For those who've been here forever, I've had a major schedule, semi-major schedule changed, simply due to work. It's real life. Unfortunately, it takes place. I am the only person, except for my producer, my cat. It's just me, and we are extremely shorthanded at work, which means that most of us are doing our job plus more and more of other people's jobs until we're doubling up each day. So that means we have to come in earlier. I'm a person. I'm an old head, and so they needed quote unquote volunteers to come in. So before I got volunteered for a bad schedule, I said, well, let me come in earlier on Mondays and Tuesdays and give me the rest of the week. And they said, okay. And so people are towards the end of the week and weekends are doing it a little bit later. That's why the show has been cut down. And also, I think it's kind of ironic that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday initials are WTF. And I was just like, I can't give that up. I mean, I gotta fall into that. So yeah. So until we can get a in real life, until we can get a good band of people and our schedules have evened out, yeah, but I don't know. All right, so that's that part. Um, the other preamble is that uh, the Suicide Squad has been released on HBO Max here in the States. And of course, got to watch it. Didn't go out to the movies. I love going to the movies. I didn't go out to the movies to go see it. Sorry, cinemaphiles, but I did get a chance to see it. And it made me, of course, any and everything sparks something in me. So I thought we would talk about this. Uh, Not the specificity of the movie, but the whole concept of the Suicide Squad in general. So, for those who do not know or don't read comic books or haven't read them in a very long time, the Suicide Squad. Oh, thanks, Mike. The Suicide Squad is uh, created or monitored or overseen by a woman known as Amanda Waller. Now, in the comic books, she's pretty heavy set, and she is the. Oh no, I'm not going to give away spoilers at all, so don't worry about that. But she runs this program with an iron fist. If it wasn't for the fact, if she had a superhero costume, she could go head to head with Batman. She is this. She's always thinking ahead. She thinks further. She is a brilliant strategist, and she has no moral code at all. And what happens is Task Force X is technically the official name of this group. Is that these individuals are implanted with basically an explosive or some other uh, uh, psycho control over a person, much like maybe an invisible fence for a pet in many ways. Press the button and zap, or explode, or insta death, or what have you. And she recruits most of these individuals are criminals. Or people that no one, the rest of society normally wouldn't care about, or are forced into a position where they do become criminals. And again, society, for the most part, doesn't really care about them. And it's an opportunity for the comic book industry to take some of these pretty ridiculous villains and give them a new lease on life, or at least make fun of them because of the C and D list nature that they are on. Like in this recent movie, Polka Dot Man and The Javelin and Captain Boomerang and what else, so on and so forth, and it goes on and on. And I said, well, wonder how that would be if this becomes something that is both protagonist and antagonist, and kind of go, yeah, Dead Man says she's going toe to toe with several superheroes in the DCEU, and she has no superpowers. She's just a brilliant mind. If you, in many ways, she is not just intelligent in terms of like what we would consider like scientific intelligence or knowledge, but she knows people's motivations and is able to push their buttons enough to know that if she says and does the specific things in a particular order, she can get elicit a reaction out of people to get what she wants. And she doesn't really care about the side effects. And I would dare say that she's up there with like a Bruce Wayne and a Lex Luthor in the DCEU, and probably three or four others in terms of psychological manipulation and tactical awareness and such strategies and whatnot. Let's see. Mike goes on to say Suicide Squad is basically the DC Comics version of The Dirty Dozen. It is exactly that, yeah. Or Great Britain's colonial plan for Australia, yeah. Cyberpunk 2020 had their own version called the Penal Core. That's right. Cyberpunk did have that version, and I thought we would talk about using this both as a proactive or protag and antag kind of thing. So let's talk protagonists. Let's imagine a world where a setting where the player characters are members of this Suicide Squad, this Task Force X. Now, mind you, this is role playing games. We could do fantasy, we could do science fiction. Although I thought we would save that for Future Friday. The literal suicide mission. So I want to save that a little bit for Future Friday. But I thought it would be pretty interesting to literally start a game where the players come from divergent backgrounds and they are in a position where, on one hand, they are forced to perform, to go on a mission. Remember the old, what's the old spell? We used to pronounce it Gaius, and now it's like geese. It doesn't matter. It's the spell that you must perform, go on a quest, and if you don't, you suffer some kind of bodily harm or psychological harm. I don't even. Does the spell even exist now in fifth edition? I don't know. I don't remember. But anyway, long story short, it could be a spell effect. It may even be literally an unlike a mechanical implant, although you could have a mechanical implant with an artificer. It might be something like, hey, guess what? You just dropped a bottle of poison and you have 48 hours before you die, and they have the antidote and they won't give it to you unless you perform this mission. Or you're strapped down to a table and a small leggy insect-like thing just crawled into your ear. Guess what? Or dropped down your throat. And if you don't, do what we say, going back to the wasp liches and whatnot, or the wasp mind flayers, there, the wasp ghouls there, Mike. Something like that could happen where the player characters, you start the game out with a, damn, if we don't do what we're told, we're going to get in a lot of trouble. And the player characters may even, is it Gesh? Geas is pronounced Gesh. That's, yeah. I couldn't remember the true pronunciation. I think it's like Celtic or something. But we always, I just know when I was growing up, we always pronounced this Gaius. But yeah, it's the spell that it's like the ultimate charm spell. Go on this quest to perform this long-term thing, and if you don't perform it, something terrible will happen to you. And it would be pretty interesting to your comment there, Mike, and Deadman. But it would be pretty interesting for the players to, like, literally, they want to go on the mission. They just don't want to be forced to perform that mission, and then to have to try to like navigate their way through. Okay, well, we have to do this thing, but we also want to get back at the people who are controlling us. Or it might be an opportunity for like the generality of the Suicide Squad movies, where maybe a player character has done something wrong. The quote unquote paladin of the group has to do something wrong, and this mission is personally is an atonement type of thing. Like, yeah, the only reason you have your paladin gifts now is because you're going on this mission, despite the fact that a A small burrowing insect has just latched itself onto your medulla oblongata. Mike Gould says, to be fair, to have your players be a Suicide Squad typically means two things. Players will tend to roll douchebag characters who all claim claim to be chaotic neutral, and they will run in variant directions. Yeah, which is the hot kind of the point of this concept of the Suicide Squad to corral them together. Players will need a control mechanism. Players will rail against this, but it'll be necessary to further any sort of storyline. And I think, but part of the story might be them railing against the controls in the first place, especially if you, much like the very first Suicide Squad movie, of course there was someone who's like, I don't believe you. I'm going off on my own. Boom, head explodes, PCs look around and they go, ooh, the DM's real, being real with this. Yeah, yeah, you're gonna die, or there might be some other. Mind you, this doesn't necessarily need to be explosive in the back of the brain. There have been a number of noir style storytelling elements where the protagonist is in a situation where, oh, you're going to die in 24 hours if you don't accomplish this thing, or you will die in 24 hours. There's no stopping it, but you want to take revenge on something or someone. There was the Jason Statham movies. One was he was injected with a poison where he had to keep his adrenaline up. The next movie was he had an artificial heart and the power was running out and he had to keep that moving. Like you could do different permutations of this thing. And a good reason for picking the player characters might be that the Crank franchise. Thank you, Tesla. Yeah, the Crank franchise where like hey, guess what? You're not going to get any short rests or long rests. You're just going to have to barrel through. Now, mind you, this it does sound like this would be like a one shot. Although you could play a number of one shots where the players are, and I was going to hold this for future Friday, but the players, you may tell them this is a one shot. They completely they played their characters like they stole it, you know, grenade strapped to chest, jumping into a situation, boom, hey, go out in a blaze of glory, and then come to find out they're still alive somewhere else, and they are the preliminary group, and they've just seen themselves commit suicide, and they're like, ooh, so am I a copy of the person that just committed suicide, or was that the real me? And I'm the copy. That's anyway. Deadman says Warhammer 40K has the penal legions where criminals are tasked with serving as cannon fodder for the Imperial Guard. There are a couple members that reach the legendary ranks with loads of missions done. In a strange kind of way, the classic gladiatorial games kind of fit into this concept as well, where a setting may, in order to rise socially, it may be necessary for the players to become a suicide style squad. In other words, they have to engage in the most dangerous missions to rise up in the ranks, or maybe to break through the glass wall of a social status. And the players may accept themselves as a lower status individuals, that they are all, beneath the foot of the local people or constables or whatnot. Yeah, I'm just thinking of, like, there might be a willingness to engage in these kind of things where, oh, so to better my lifestyle, my family, or my legacy, if I do this thing that's super dangerous, that I will be like awarded like samurai status or something, or knighthood, or become a landed noble or something. And they're like, yeah, oh yeah, you could rise up. We'll fake some paperwork that you have some noble blood in you if you just perform this thing. Like, yeah, okay. All I have to do, make one shot, like 8 Mile. Yeah, one shot, you never know. Mike Gould says, gentlemen, You have a slad tadpole. It is currently in stasis. So long as the objective is completed, we might be able to get it out. However, the stasis is limited and the tadpole will awaken. You have 1 week. See you in Waterdeep. Yeah. A slotty tadpole swimming around in your brain with a, I don't know. You got to have like the visuals too, like the, I don't know, the X-ray, the equivalent of an arcane X-ray of a person's brain with a slotty tadpole swimming around in the side, and they're just like, "What the hell?" Uh, Vampanoid's like party TPKs in 5 minutes into a session, so the DM made them re-roll mean characters. Yeah, like yeah. PCs are like, I know how to get out of this. Cliff jump, splat. Now can I roll up another character without the slotty in my head? Dungeon Master's like, don't. Oh man. Mike Gould says something like a free gladiator. Yeah, so long as you do the thing and put on a great show, you may be freed and granted lands. I've talked about this before. The 4 seasons of the old, I think it was Showtime, Stars Network, old show Spartacus had the exact same thing. There was a character in it who strangely enough, I think you have to compete in so many gladiatorial games and win, and then you're granted freedom. And he got his freedom. They honored it. They were like, "No, you were the badass. You honored freedom." He got out and was just like, "Life sucks." And then through a course of events, the the gladiators freed themselves from slavery, and he was like, "Yeah, I want to join up," because he missed the action. He actually felt like he loved the honor of the battle and such, despite the fact that it was forced combat. They were literally slaves, but he was like, I miss this. Actually, he missed the camaraderie. It wasn't the slavery, but he missed the camaraderie. He missed the accolades of the crowd and whatnot. And I think something of a I understand how sensitive it can be nowadays, but it would be kind of cool for maybe even players to like, okay, we were captured, we've become enslaved, but this society, despite its brutality, it might be an honor of sorts, a dark honor where, yeah, if you compete 6 times in the gladiator arena, or you perform you know 5 functions for the emperor will award you this great status, and the player character is like, all right, we've committed three missions, 2 more, and I'm out of here. Yeah. If the players suicide their characters, they get pre-generated characters. Good luck. Ooh. Ooh. Although to be honest, I think that this kind of concept fits perfectly with Dungeon Crawl Classics, the funnel, where everyone gets like 5 PCs, and it's whoever survives becomes their main character. Yeah. So to get around copyright instead of Suicide Squad, it's let's make a criminal cadre. Yeah, and mind you, the idea of the comic book version of Suicide Squad has been done before. It's been, now, mind you, these part of it is comedic. The other part is to blow off the dust of old characters that haven't been used before, and to maybe even get a new lease on life with some of these dumb characters like Calendar Man and Condiment King and whatnot. But on the other hand, I think there's a bit of like, I think there could be some fun to be had with why are we all together? It's the why is the chaotic neutral warlock plus the assassin plus the paladin all thrown together? Well, guess what? You make strange bedfellows, right? Like, and everyone's like, why did the paladin? Why was the paladin arrested, convicted, and then sent with us? And the paladin like won't talk about it or something, or maybe you could have a character that like gave them like Hunger Games gave themselves up so maybe a family member didn't have to do it. Yeah. Mm-mm. Mike Gould says, Out of the Abyss sort of starts like this as prisoners and missed out on a Suicide Squad story. Now, of course, we all know that it's a session zero thing where, do the PCs accept what's going on? Is the mission, is the story itself the player characters trying to navigate their way out of a sticky situation by pretending to go on a mission, but really they're trying to get back at their controllers, or is this completely embraced and the player characters are like, yeah, we're going to go back. We know at the end, if we survive, we'll go back to being imprisoned, but we are having fun. This is we were embracing the absurdity of the thing and going on the mission to know that we're coming back. And it's possible even in a, say, we love ourselves some post-apocalyptic nature, it could be these like heavily fortified city states where no one wants to go outside because it's safety inside the realm, and to go outside is death, and they really can't get volunteers. So the player characters might be like, yeah, we're kicking you out, boop, and you could go for like a Spelljammer or even like Planescape or Dark Sun kind of thing where the players are kicked out because of whatever special ability or nature they have, and in order for them to return home, listen, you got to complete the mission in order for you to come back home to the safety of wherever it is. I mean, I imagine most Celestials who have been kicked out of Mount Celestia in the plane of lawful good are like, can I come back home? And they're like, nope, doors are shut until you go down to the, I don't know, the nine hells or something. And they're like, damn it. My key to get me back home won't work. Yeah. Michael says criminal cadres could all be abducted victims, say by mind flayers, slods, intelligent undead, or dragons, who are thrown into a series of adventures. There might even be the promise of freedom or a chance to escape later. Yeah, yeah. I love that idea, and I think there's even you could even play it up where, okay, let's go with what's a good one, like a mind flayers. We love ourselves some mind flayers, and it might be a strange way for players to go, like, how does my paladin navigate the Underdark where there's all these evil creatures? Well, if you've been touched, tainted by the mind flayers, maybe the denizens of the Underdark are like, oh, you're an agent of the mind flayers. Go ahead, the Illithids, community, go right on ahead. And it might be like in a strange way, it might be like the key to navigating a thing because you've been marked by these other beings. I don't know, the chromatic dragons or something have marked you as one of theirs, and that literally is the only way you could do it. Yeah. Mike says a descent into Avernus could totally be run as a criminal cadre. Yeah, and here's another way to do an evil campaign, because all or majority of the characters in the comic book version of Suicide Squad are criminals. So, and this might be the way to combine these various criminals together. Like, I want to play a serial killer, I want to play a thief, I'm going to play an assassin, and whatnot. And Deadman says an echo log from Borderlands 3, Kaziak, 5 more missions and your contract's up, then you're free to go. And Mosey says, you said that 5 missions ago. Yeah, well, we changed our minds, right? 5 more missions. It was already 5 missions. Well, we need you to go on 5 more missions. Yeah, that's 10. No. Those were 5. Now there's 5. Playing the DM's Vampanoid says, playing the DM's weird pre-gen characters. I got Polka Dot Man. Yeah, you want to kill off your PC and get another random one? Nah, I can work with this. Oh, that would be hilarious. Like, oh, I got Polka Dot Man and Condiment King. You what? My grease spell is a hot mustard? No. That's another spell. Your first spell is mayonnaise. Tesla Ranger says in 2003, near Erie, Pennsylvania, pizza delivery man Brian Wells had a bomb locked around his neck and was ordered to rob a bank. Wells was detained excuse me, was detained, but before the bomb squad could arrive, the device exploded and killed him. However, it is believed that he was in on the plan but wasn't aware that the bomb was real until it was too late. There is a very bizarre, first of all, they made a comedy movie out of it, of all things, but there's a documentary about that entire situation with actual footage of the event of him when they detained him and the bomb going off. It's one of those stories of stranger than fiction. It is really good. And yes, that was a real thing. A pizza delivery man gets kidnapped. A harness is put around his neck and chest with a bomb attached to it. He is ordered to go into a bank to rob it, and then the police come. He's like, "It wasn't me. I was ordered to do this," and he's a bit too calm for having a bomb strapped around him and a thing locked around his neck. And then the bomb actually goes off and kills him. And come to find out that he probably was in on it, you know, trying to be a little too smart for his own good. But yeah. So, don't know the name of it, but it's a real thing. If any of you find it, the name of that uh, that thing, please do that. Please do that. Michael's mission: go to hell. Sort the objective. Once that's done, find the way out of hell. We'll take 10 years off your sentence. Ooh. Oh, I love that. I love that. Hell, you could run this as, imagine as the dungeon master, you TPK your party, and then you go, all right, guys, well, we're going to play next week, and everyone's like, but you just killed our characters. You're like, oh no, and then the player characters are now dead. They're on the outer planes because back in the day, you young people, back in the day when you died, technically your spirit went to the plane of your alignment. So the player characters go out into the outer planes, and now to get back to life, they have to go on a mission, and somehow a greater being has released them from their dimensional havens, and all of the denizens of the outer planes are like, wait a minute, you can't leave here. And they start going after the PCs, and the PCs are like trying to get together and get back home. That would be kind of cool. It would not quite suicide kind of, but although it might be like, if you get caught, you're never going back to Earth or getting back to the prime material plane. Mufas says local government gives their worst criminals to mind flayers as slaves as part of a treaty. Ooh, yeah. Instead of handing over the community's like, wait. So for 60 years we've been giving over virgins, but we can actually give you criminals. Sweet. Political dissidents, here we come. Enemies of the state, locking them up. The mind flayers are like, the humans seem kind of happy. Local governments are like, yep, getting rid of you. Come on, get in the cage. Michael says, holy crap. Players start in hell because they died. Yep. The devil who owns their souls runs the cadre. If they complete their missions against a rival devil, they might earn their freedom. Ooh, there's your Avernus setup. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Ooh, they hell, you could get a, hey, you could, come on, producer. Come on. Yeah, Sophie. Hey, you could even get like, wouldn't it be funny to have like even players who want to play good characters were sentenced to hell because of like some deed that they did, and they're like, but that's unfair. And of course they're in hell. They're like, because it's hell. Of course it's unfair. And they're like, I'm getting the hell out of here. Yep. Ooh, I put the full echo log on Discord. Okay. Ooh, don't please chat. Don't disappear on me. There it is. Yeah. Oh, from Borderlands 3. I don't give two turds in a Vicurian ham sandwich, which sounds good to you, soldier. You signed a contract. If you want to keep that Iron Bear until it's 5 missions, besides, I need you out there with the greenies. You quit, they die. Ooh, you quit, they die. Mm. Hmm. That would be a twist on it with a hey, you're being forced to go on the mission, and if you don't, other people will die. I mean, that kind of over, you know, that kind of threat might not get players to like leave home. That might just motivate the players to like rescue their loved ones, but that's a good idea as well. Mike Gould says there was a single session only show back in the 90s called Brimstone. Yes, where the main character hunted souls that escaped from hell. Series had one of the best Lucifers on film, John Glover. Yes, it Brimstone. I remember that show. It was a short-lived show, but yeah, there were people had escaped from hell, and this person was like a was working for was like working for hell and getting them back and getting their souls back or something. Yeah, I barely remember the show, and it wasn't that long ago. But yeah, it ran along the lines of like what's a new show today? It was a show called Evil and Grim, and the television show Lucifer. Like it kind of went into that um, procedural noir detective slash hunter show. Yeah, Michael says it was pretty great. My fave was the used car salesman version of Satan with the haunted car. That's awesome. Uh, I also think that you could another way to play this, if we can flip this over, would be the players. The Suicide Squad is the antagonist, and the players are the protagonists. Meaning that there's a big bad. Like let's go with the classic with the mind flayers, the illithids, and but the PCs know that they've captured these other big bads and have been using them and throwing them against society, and the player characters are like they find out pretty quickly that maybe like an ancient dragon and uh slotties and other beings that we normally consider to be or even mid-level lieutenants like Rakshasa and Naga and Sphinxes and things like that. Like maybe they are they are strange bedfellows, and the players are like, why are these beings working together? Like, why would a dragon work with a vampire who's working with I don't know, Slotty and these other things? Hey, Sophie Soph, come on. Like why are they working together? And then come to find out that they they are strange bedfellows on purpose because some other greater being has forced them into some kind of servitude. And mind you, of course, they're probably evil, but they're also like, hey, the giant ogre's like, please save me, get me out of here before their head explodes. And the players, after wiping brain matter off of their faces, like, wow, what the hell just happened there? you know? Mm-mm-mm. Mike says he was a cop. He was a cop that shot someone in revenge and died later. Oh, the main character of Brimstone. Okay, he had to hunt escaped souls to buy his freedom. He always awoke the next day with what he had on him when he died. Ooh. If you have a player who suicides his PCs, do that. The character is resurrected by a devil with only what they had when they died. That's a great what a great reset button, right? Like yeah, we don't make death saves in this game. When you die, you just go back to hell and you get re I don't know what we call reconfigured back again. So like if you earned like a new magic item and a couple like some trinkets and some money like you lose all that, but you come back to life and you're like, no. As you scramble, I don't know, scramble out of a crawl your way out of a cemetery plot or something, and you're just like suffocating. You come out the dirt, and you're just like, damn it, for the 12th time. Yeah, you could never pass on. Michael says a Rakshasa or Death Naga might make a great Waller. Ooh, with a night hag as a lieutenant in shapeshifted form. Yeah, a rock that's a great idea for like um yeah, hags work very well with that. Rakshasa, like these long term. they don't really make very good like fisticuff villains, but sitting in the background, most of those shapeshifter, mind controller styled big bads controlling other things. And what a great excuse to throw the kitchen sink at your player characters who are like, wait, okay, so last session it was a young dragon. This session it's a vampire lord and their spawn. And then we just fought like lizard folk and whatever. You're going on, and they're like giants and why? It's like a hodgepodge. Is there any the players are like sitting behind the scenes, like, all right, DM, I know you have a plan, but this seems kind of weird. Like, why one to the next to the next? You're like, oh no, there's a reason behind this. And come to find out that the reason, and of course, this is a good reason for you to like, man, I just purchased Tome of Beasts #2, and I want to use a ton of monsters in it, and I don't have a reason to put them all together. Oh, I have a great reason. There's a Rakshasa that has been using, I don't know, nectar of the gods or something like that, and one drip, and they're under your control for a fortnight or something, and they've been using this for forever and ever. Oh man, Dead Man says a line from the series Brimstone the Devil. Okay, you don't have any friends, Ezekiel. You're not only really dead, you're really most sincerely dead. Ezekiel Stone says, "Isn't that from The Wizard of Oz?" The Devil. I hate that movie. I didn't know that was a line with that. The Devil's like, I hate that movie. Devil's like, I would have done it different. Pouty face. That's funny. Yeah, you don't have any friends, Ezekiel. Is Yeah, you're not only really dead, you're really most sincerely dead. Is there a difference between being really dead and sincerely dead? Really sincerely dead? Oh man. Michael says, I love the idea of the devil having a bureaucrat who's a worm-like fiend with cigar and visor. Talks like Danny DeVito or Gilbert Godfrey. Yeah, you again? You must like this. Okay, here's your belongings. One backpack, one longsword used, one chainmail halberd, 25 gold pieces, one letter from mom. Oh shit, that would be pretty hilarious. Yeah, the little visor and oh, I don't know what the bands are. I guess your bands were supposed to hold the sleeves up so your sleeves don't get ink on them or whatever. And the monocle, little stamp, sign right here, clickety pen, sign right here on the page. Like, I'm not signing anything in the hells, in the nine hells at all. Mufa says, I always like the idea of monstrous characters. Too bad D&D isn't really designed with allowing easy conversion of monsters into PCs. Ooh, you know what? Okay, let me leave this up there. You could, mm, the way races are done doesn't lend itself very easily to it, but I think you could almost, if we scrape off the serial numbers, you could get a little close to playing a monstrous race if you take some of the class and racial features and massage them a little bit. Yeah, I'm with you, Mufa. There really isn't you can't just pick up a Minotaur and in fifth edition the way it's written and go, okay, I'm going to play Minotaur. This is equal to a third level character, and then I'm going to tack on other class abilities. But it would be kind of cool to play like monsters who are playing classic monsters in D&D, knowing that adventurers are going after you, but you are under control of something else. And as the monsters, you're like, okay, listen, everybody knows that they're going to try to kill us. The players are like, okay, I'm going to play the dragon, and I'm going to play a vampire, and I'm going to play, a fire giant or something. And then they have to navigate a world. They actually have to navigate other monsters who think they're allies, but the PCs are like, we're not friends with you. We're trying to get out of this servitude. That'd be flipping the page on it. I like that. Mm-mm-mm. Mike Gould says, depends on the monster. There's a 2-page chart in the DMG for monster ability modifiers. That is true. That is true. And you know what? Honestly, you could damn near make up whatever you want. Like game balance is primarily a player versus player thing. Because if you're willing to do run high level adventures, there's nothing wrong with someone going, here's a Naga, play that. Right? Here's your CR, here's the stats, go ahead and play that. Or you can pick any combination of creatures up to CR 20. So you can pick a CR 7 and a CR 13 monster, and that's your player character, right? And you play them. I would do that. Like you have like someone plays maybe 3 monsters instead of like 1, but just give them a number of CRs that they can mess with. Hey, you get to play. I want to play a Displacer Beast, an Ogre, and a Medusa. All right, that counts up to blah 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 blah. That counts up to 17. Go ahead, sure. Yep. And like Deadman says, in 3.3 third edition and 3.5 D&D had fairly simple method of making monstrous PCs. Yeah, yeah. Well, those systems still exist. It's not like they're gone. So yeah. Mike says there's a way to make more humanoid monsters into PCs, be they bullywogs, Hogan, Knowles. Pretty easy too. And you could just it's really just a replacement thing, right? Like if Knowles have or Bullywogs or Hogan have a certain ability, just erase one racial ability and say it's replaced with this other racial ability. I would do that. Mufa says we should do an episode about monstrous PCs. Could be fun. I'm I'm with you on that. Okay. All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it next week. We could. Well, shit, won't be able to start until Wednesday, mm, but I like it. I like that idea because I think there's even more to it than just like, hey, I want to play a dragon. It's like, well, what do you do in your downtime? You know, or hey, I want to play a frost giant or something. Like, what do you do? What's the social implications of that? I don't know. I like that. Mike says, here's a Naga. Now your challenge is to operate this keyboard. Sad music as the player realizes they have no arms. Boom, 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 boom. Mage hand? Okay, I guess maybe. Yeah. Oh man, that would be pretty hilarious. You might want to, if players play monstrous PCs, imagine that like I don't know, it could be like a lich or a wizard or something has captured them into like a zoo and forced them and put collars on them or something, and the PCs are like, damn it. Although it would kind of work in a planescape kind of arena, or hell, Dark Sun actually works too as monstrous races thrown into the pits, the gladiator pits, and they escape, but maybe they don't escape. They've been recruited to do other things by maybe the dragon lords or whatnot. Deadman's like a Naga PC could just use their tongue to type, their tongue and their little poison stinger on it, or do they have poison from their mouth? I don't know. Anyway, their forked tongue could hit the shift and the alt button plus another button. Oh man. Oh, it would be a little bit of hunt and peck, but I could see that. Maybe the ogre character is like, I'll type for you. I broke the keyboard again. But anyway, guys, I thought we would have some fun with it. Although I do think there's also the idea of if you just don't want to do like murder hoboism, the player characters might be involved in something where it's not only necessary to free the their adversaries that are being controlled, like the two-tongue typist. Is that a character? Is that a player character archetype or something? Third level, I get to play a two-tongue typist. But it might also be necessary for the player characters to navigate, like it. There might be a reason why they can't just murder kill the being that's being controlled or forced. They may need to track back, like, what is controlling them? How is it controlling them? Using the control that's on the thing to trace back who did it, and find out which other beings are also being controlled, and use that as a method to find out, like, ooh, I didn't know the Rakshasa that used to be our ally and our connection is doing this, but yeah, we found out, you know. Let's see. Mike says, I've offered my players a chance to play a monstrous race from Volos with a bonus if they were all the same monster. They turned it down. They then still made a vast range of exotic races. Yeah, that's going to happen. I thought a whole tribe of goblins or hobgoblins, kobolds, etc., would be fun. Oh, I definitely think of that. Yeah. Ooh, they would be a Suicide Squad by default. A goblin Suicide Squad. That'd be a great one shot. Oh man, yeah, like goblin grenadiers. Grenadiers, I don't know what you call them. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Or the funnel, the DCC funnel. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, you get here. Everybody gets to play 5 goblins, and everyone's like, sweet. Three of them, of course, are going to be just trashed right up in the beginning, and they have to fight against the brutal humans that are taking over the countryside or something. That'd be kind of cool as well, especially if the player characters can come up with some really obnoxiously self-sacrificial um, abilities or something. Or the dungeon master's like, here, I've got a list of 25 capabilities you can do, but if you do it, you're going to go up in a blaze of glory. And the PCs are like, sweet. So your goblin has fireball. You're dead at the end of it. Sweet. You know. Mm-mm-mm. Vampanoid says PCs work under an archdevil patron that hires them out as minions. They keep all their class and equipment, but can change races between jobs. Ooh, ooh! It's like, so they get to leave hell, but they are like a it's the spiritual form of themselves, right? I don't know, for whatever reason they're in the 9 hells or something. Like, it's their spirits down there, but becoming physical, they inhabit the body of different races, and they get to keep all like their class features and things like that. That would be a very espionage style story where like an archdevil is sending them into the, like, one game you invade the human lands, another game you're invading the hobgoblin lair, another game you're I don't know, going with the dragonborn hordes or something. Like, you could have different things where maybe they become giants, and that'd be really cool. Like, I don't know if I don't want to, a good procedural where you have like a 1 to 3 shot, but it's the same story. It's just different missions they go on. I like that. I would play in something like that where you're like, okay, guys, you make up your character, but only make up your mental stats and your class abilities, but your physical stuff, yeah. Like Vampanoid's mentioned, kind of like resleeving. If they die, no sweat, their souls go back to hell anyways. Oh, I'm liking that. I like that a lot. And frankly, yeah, I mean, I thought I'd talk about it on Future Friday, but whatever. I think something like that. Now, you could, if you want there to be a cost to it, you could add some kind of like torment stat or something like that, where, you know, if they accrue too many deaths, they, like, each mission, they accrue one d4 points, and then if you roll a d20 and you don't roll above your torment stat, you can't come back again. So if it might limit a little bit of the, well, I'm just going to keep cliff jumping until I get a better character or better sleeve into a better body or something. Yeah. Mike says, if you like randomness, the new body is selected via the reincarnation spell. I come back as a weasel. Yeah, you might want to modify the bottom end of that a reincarnation table, but I like it though. I like it a lot. And you could have, I think you could have some obnoxiously good fun with that as well. Deadman says there was a GURPS supplement that covered that, like a reincarnation. Although it would be pretty fun for like the beefy barbarian to come back in like a 16-year-old girl's body or something, and he's just like he could barely hold up the battle axe, but he's still got the same stats, right? Like the same capabilities, like the same rage and like combat abilities, but in this like frail body. Although but everyone's like always rubbing the barbarian's head because he's just like, "You little girl, hey yo, you're so nice, man. Move along." And the barbarian's just like, "This is stupid. Give me my toys." And going on a mission or something, that'd be pretty hilarious. And actually, it might be kind of fun too. Now, I wouldn't specifically, um, what would you call? I wouldn't cut off the knees of like one player character and then grant somebody else something better. But playing with that would be pretty sweet, especially if you have. I think the idea also makes a lot of sense if you have players that are constantly listen, like us who suffer from world builders disease. There's some players who suffer from character building disease as well. And this might be a middle ground where, oh, this time you're going to all become drow elves down in the Underdark, like Mike was saying, where you have like a whole cadre of, hey, we're all playing hobgoblins, or we're all playing bugbears, or we're all playing, orcs or something. You could have different thematic gaming sessions where there's like 3 drow elves plus an enslaved hook horror plus an ogre bodyguard, and they all become the PCs temporarily. They still keep their same class functions. They become drow elves in the Underdark and go down in a Menzo Baranzin or something. And then once that game is done, they go back to hell to then come back into, I don't know, the goodly lands. And someone's like, I'm going to play a minor angel, and I'm going to play a quaddle, and I'm going to play a blink dog, or something like that. I don't know. You could have a lot of fun with that as well. And another perfect excuse when a player can't show up. Where are you? Down in the Nine Hells, hanging out. Mike Gould says, and the barbarian freaks out and leaps on a giant's face. Hilarity as a background scene where a serious PC tries to negotiate, and in the background has an ongoing battle between a frost giant and a 13-year-old girl who's all over him like a frenzied monkey with a knife. Dude, for some reason, I'm just picturing it in the background where like the background scene is the battle in the background is going on, and it's just slightly out of focus, where in focus straight up in the front there's just these 2 people trying to negotiate, and his little 13-year-old girl's like, yeah, trying to stab this giant, and the giant's just like trying to like scrape this girl off his face, like, what the hell? And she just becomes like the little murder girl. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, right. Yep. Yes, it's slightly blurred. Yeah, just a little bit out of focus. Just a little bit. What's the the opening of I know a lot of movies have done this, but the opening of about to say Suicide Squad. The opening of the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 did that. Yes, thank you, Vampanoy. Yes. So one Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with Baby Groot intro. Yep. The Guardians of the Galaxy in the background getting their asses kicked with Groot like, I'm going to listen to music and fight a little small thing, or I don't know what it was. Mike says Giant wanders in and out of frame with his with this girl climbing all over him. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it'd be funny. Could you imagine? Okay, so you know how I don't know if you guys have done this, or I'm pretty sure you have. You know how like a player character, kills a monster. They're like, "Oh, you dropped it to 0. Tell me how you take them out." And the player's like, with the playing the barbarian, and the 13-year-old girl's like, "Oh, can I just like, can I just be like attacking the giant over and over again in the background because I won?" And like, sure, have fun. And the whole time the Giants is like, stop it. Because remember, this is actually a rule in the game. If you drop an enemy to 0 hit points, you can decide not to kill them. You can say you've just so-called taken them out. That'd be pretty hilarious. Giants on his stomach, you know how someone gets like a bee or an insect on their body and they're just like, oh, stop it. He's on his stomach rolling around and the girl's just like jumping all over top of him and he's like, please get off of me. Oh man. I love it. But all right, guys. Yeah, I had a little fun with this, and I think there is a lot of hilarity and fun with it, but I think also you could get pretty dark with someone's soul condemned, or maybe a good character could condemn themselves in place of someone else's soul who should have been taken down into hell, and this good character is just like, I want to play a paladin, but I have an archdevil as my patron who sends me back to the physical realm in different bodies and whatnot to perform these actions. I don't know, for 101 years or whatever the case might be, and they have to go on these missions and whatnot. That'd be and I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. At the end of the scene, the girl's head pops in the frame as a super close up, wild, angry eyes and panting. We good? Bloody knife, blood splattered dress or something like. Hey guys, we good? All the PCs standing over top of her like, yeah, we're real good. Spitting out an ear or a nose or something. Patooey! Dragging a bloody knife and a rag doll. Yeah. Giant's like, keep her away from me. Oh man, hilarious. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Of course, tomorrow of all things, because tomorrow is third pillar of Exploration Thursday. So what are we going to talk about then? So I thought it'd be fun to talk about. Uh, this was revealed in a trailer, so take it easy. I'm not giving away spoilers, but I thought we would talk about Starro the Conqueror, who was a pretty ridiculous villain in the DCEU, but when you look at it, it's kind of good, kind of a interesting kind of villain. So we like talk about Starro the Tarrasque, world-shaking villains as an environmental effect of sorts. Vampanoid says Asmodeus or Asmodeus is pretty much the king of dinging people for technicalities. Yeah, he could get a lawful good paladin if he wants to. Oh yeah, he could easily talk a lawful good paladin into like into like, are you sure you didn't steal anything? The paladin's like, I've never stolen anything in my life. Asmodeus takes a book. He's like, really? Let me hold on for a minute. Flippity flip. You're sure you've never stolen anything? Paladin's like, never. It's like, well, right here, there was a squirrel, and there's a picture here where you touched that squirrel's nuts. He's like, they were sitting on the ground. No, the squirrel went up in his tree. You stole. You lied. Well, I didn't know I stole them. Doesn't matter. The paladin that likes to touch squirrels' nuts. So Michael says, so the Starro effect. So a great old one and how they affect an environment. Hells yes. Hells yeah. Yeah. Yeah, again, I'm not going to reveal any details. It was revealed kind of in the trailer, but we're going to talk about it holistically. So it's not going to be any spoiler effects, but yeah, we'll do that tomorrow and come up with some fun things. I always felt like the Tarrasque is undersold as a thing. I just wish it was. I wish it was more of a threat, like a world shattering, changing monster that you really don't want to go one-on-one against it because you have to solve so many other things. Well, it says here, goblin non-combatants killed, innocent victims, game, set, match. Yeah. Don't don't you remember when you were level 2 and you went to the caves of chaos? I'm like, yeah. Remember those goblin children and pregnant goblin women that you killed? Yeah. Monster Manual said they were evil. Nope. You just played judge, jury, and executioner. No, you serve me now. I love it. Anyway, guys, I got to get out of here. You guys have a great one. I will see you later. Do all the great stuff. Last thing before I get out of here, and I know you guys want to say a bunch of things, but seriously though, before we get out of here, I'm going to take the leap forward and be a promoter of. Yeah, Tesla's like the monster manual. You says usually evil. Yeah, yeah, guys. But I will say that I'm going to expand the creators conclave, and I'll be the first penguin in the water and try to assemble a large, expansive group of many of us who are content creators under one banner. And I don't know if this will succeed, but hopefully you'll see. Hopefully you'll see. Let me see if I could. You know what? Matter of fact, let me see if I could show you something. Let's see. Let's see if I can pull something up here. Ooh, let's pull up a logo. All right. Can I? There we go. Let's make that giant sized. Let's try something like this. If I can show you an image. This is something I've had this in the background in my head for years now. It's actually been quite a number of years. The idea behind it, if I could give you guys the elevator pitch. Please don't tell anybody, even though I'm on you broadcasting. The idea behind a creators conclave would be the idea of many of us. It is very hard for us in the stadium of the interweb to be noticed when there's 100,000 people in a stadium all trying to get the attention of the jumbotron. And many of us have skills. Sometimes those skills are very hyper focused. But if we have a manner in which we all become like unionized of sorts, where we all come together, we have a logo, a um, a unified method of all of us coming together as creators to then have a central location to say, hey, um, when people see the symbol, when they hear it, when they love what you create, they can find other like-minded individuals gathered together under a single banner. Then those individuals, let's say you are you own a 3D printer and you want to create miniatures. You're someone who makes t-shirts, you're someone who makes board games or cards, you are a world creator. All you do is put up your actual plays online. You're a layout artist. You're a digital artist, but the only thing you're good at is drawing weapons. Whatever the case might be, you're someone out there. Your social media is not the social media of others. Twitch, Reddit, Instagram, blah blah blah. Maybe you're whatever the case might be, and gathering all these people together. And so my idea would be, well, wouldn't a high tide floats all ships? Or rather, if we are all in the same stadium, if we all come together with the same t-shirts, making the same chant, eventually the rest of our crowd will fall into the same thing. And so that's the idea I have. But so I'm just giving you a preliminary view of something I've been working on. And I don't know, I just thought it would be a cool idea. And trying to jump into the myself trying to jump into this. I don't know. I like to make things bigger than my hand can reach, so that even if I don't achieve that level, at least I've gotten further than I thought I would. And so that's it. Yeah. 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 Would this be right, eternal, shiny, and creative? Yeah. Yeah. Also, I want to recruit people. Maybe you aren't very creative at all. Maybe you're just somebody who likes to support other people. Maybe your specialty is making memes. Or maybe your specialty is literally just getting onto your social medias, and all you do is love to spread the word of your favorite content creators. Not me, but other people. Maybe that's just your thing. And I want to gather those individuals together. The person who only makes a podcast, the person who is always on Reddit, the person who is a Twitter file, who knows everybody and anyone on the TikTok creators out there. Small, limited scope, but they need to expand the blog poster. Those people, get them together and go, listen, all you do is write a blog, but you want people to see your blog. Well, how do they see it? Well, maybe when they see this logo, this byline, this thing, and you're a member of this union of community, which will cost you nothing except promote the union, promote the conclave, and to both verbally, like, hey, please come to, call to action, come to the conclave, and through links, here's a link to the conclave, and through imagery, here, attach that logo to the conclave, and that's the cost. So I thought that would be something kind of cool to start out with. But anyway, guys, again, oh, let me leave this up there. Ride eternal, shiny, and be creative. I'll see you guys later. Have a great one. And please, please, please keep that in mind. Creators Conclave. I'm not really sure if this is going to be the logo, but I'm liking it though. So you think about it later on and let me know if you like something like that. I'll see you guys later. Have a great one.